Well, I'm out and about and it's actually perfectly clear skies for once. Very strange. This is Friday. What is it, April the 3rd, I think? Yeah. I'm terrible with dates. Never get them right. So, I didn't go out yesterday. I've got to go and get some more greens today. So, I'm trying to minimise the amount of time I go out shopping. I didn't bother going to Coles at 7 today because there's... well, apart from anything else, last Wednesday when I went there, it was absolutely packed out, and that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be going to a supermarket when it's super busy, so I'm hoping late morning today might be a little quieter at Woolworths, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, I'm trying to minimise the amount of time I shop, but it's difficult without a car, and of course there's perishables like greens and what have you that, you know, I do go through pretty well. Every 2 to 3 days I'll get out of a pack of, say, spinach for instance, which is my green staple, and I'm hoping I can get some eggs today, half dozen. If I can't, I'll just get a dozen. And speaking to my cousin yesterday, she claims that if you put them in the fridge they can last up to a month, so that's not bad. That'll be fine. So I think the idea these days is to buy in bulk and try to minimise your shopping, just to keep your social contact down a bit. It makes sense. There's no point putting myself under extra risk. I've got a medical appointment on Monday to get some prescriptions. Unfortunately, I don't think they've got the flu vaccine in for the standard flu this month, for this season yet. So I don't know how high risk it'll be up here. I think this would be a fairly low risk area for normal flu, given that it's the winter here is fairly benign. So, but I'm only guessing, I don't know. Apparently it's to do with, I was listening to a medical expert being interviewed today online, and they claim that it's, they don't know why it is, but they know it's when the humidity levels drop, which they do in winter, temperature drops for some reason, the dormant flu virus tends to rear its ugly head. So it's all relative, I guess, and we do have a winter here, definitely cooler period. So I guess it is more active in June and July here, but to what extent I don't know. But I want to get the shot because I'm a relatively high risk person, and if I got the corona and I had bloody normal flu on top of it, that'd be yeah, well, it could be curtains basically. But you know, they're also saying that the actual death rate here is less than 1% in Australia, so we're doing pretty well when it comes to, it's worse than a normal flu, but that figure of less than 1% too has to be adjusted to the fact that we don't know, we're only guessing at how many people have actually got corona in Australia. We just don't know, so the figures are probably inflated, the actual percentage that is actually fatal compared to people who actually have the virus. I'm suspecting a lot more people have the virus than what we know, because even though we've done a lot of tests in this country, we just don't really know how many people are carrying the virus. It's asymptomatic after all, so in a lot of cases, so how the hell would you know? And you're not going to check people who don't show symptoms ahead of the ones that obviously are high risk, so they're the top priority. So it's a real guessing game, and I suspect it's not as deadly as people make out. Certainly the press, it's in their interest to make it seem worse than it is. It's certainly, you need to be vigilant, and we need to flatten the curve apart from anything else, just so the people who do cop it bad, they can get medical treatment, because if you don't flatten the curve, the medical facilities will be overwhelmed, personnel and facilities. So people who really need intensive care won't be able to get it. So, you know, it's imperative that we do control this for that reason alone. So I don't have any problem with us having a period of keeping social interaction down, but don't put the baby out with the bathwater, don't destroy the economy as well. It's really a matter of making sure you don't overreact, and I've got a feeling a lot of governments, especially state governments, have a tendency to do that. So it's just got to be very careful how they respond, I think. Anyway, actually it's a beautiful day here, it's perfect weather. and it is good to get out. So it's just nice to get out every second day. But it's not a problem walking here. There's not many people around. It's easy to avoid people in Cairns. That's the beauty of it. But it's when you get to the actual shopping centre, it's hard to avoid people there, especially when they're pretty brainless and all hang around at the end of the corridors and not keep their distance. They don't seem to understand social distancing at all. It's a concept that's totally foreign to them. And that's at both supermarkets, both Coles and Woolworths seem to be exactly the same. Because there actually was a journalist who said that they actually were verbally abused by a shopper in a supermarket, probably down in Melbourne or Sydney, because they got within 1.5 metres of them. So I can't imagine that sort of thing happening here. And I mean, there's no need to be nasty about it, but it isn't a bad thing to alert fellow shoppers to what their obligations are. So it's sort of half-assed up here. It's got that layback Queensland thing, and we do have a few cases up here now. Well, it was going to happen because Cairns is such a hub for international travel. It used to be anyway, before this all sort of came about. So anyway, the pasta area seems to be, people have gone crazy. They're buying ridiculous amounts of pasta and toilet paper. Just those sort of items that it's almost impossible to get. I think actually one thing that Woolworths does have is they have a decent supply of meat there, so I might get myself a couple of. I haven't had a pork chop for ages. Wouldn't mind one of those. So, whereas I think Coles is being a bit more cleaned out, so it depends which supermarket you go to, and it depends on the time of day. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely they'll have the greens anyway. Luckily that's one thing that doesn't seem to go off the shelves is the super healthy food like spinach. Thank God that's been a reliable supply source. Because I think it's always good to get your greens as part of your diet. Anyway, I also want to get a green screen. I want to try doing techniques with you shoot on a green screen so that you can actually superimpose a different background on the image of yourself. And there's actually some kits that you can buy online that actually use fabric, and they've got a stand included, and they're about $60. So that's not too bad really, with free postage, so that's quite decent. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a bit of fun with that, because I'm pretty housebound. It's a good opportunity to sort of get things happening with YouTube, especially considering that I had that huge spike in views. It's now about 2.7 thousand. A video I put up a couple of days ago, which is unprecedented for me. I've never had that much interest in a video I posted. So I'll do another update on what's happening with SpaceX in Boca Chica. That seems to be something people are really interested in, but I also had coronavirus information on that video, and the actual feedback from comments were about coronavirus. Not one person has actually commented on what I said about SpaceX, so maybe that's really the hot topic. But the actual the title of the video was actually about SpaceX and Boca Chica, so I'm assuming that's what got people to click through. And I've had a lot of subscribers as well. I've had probably almost 20 subscribers in a couple of days. Again, unprecedented. So I get to the magic 1,000, I can actually monetize my videos, but that's another 550 subscribers off, so I've got a fair way to go. It's a bit of a hill to get up. But if you get momentum happening, things can change very quickly with YouTube. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. It's a goal I could achieve, but it's just nice to get some kudos. I'm not looking at it as making money. I don't think the advertising is much money in advertising anymore. I think it's more to do with getting people who are patrons of your channel actually pay you a small amount each month just to support you, and that's nice. But you still need a few thousand subscribers to get to sort of any level where you get enough people that you might get a handful of people who are prepared to do that. But you know, that's always an option. Yeah, I was thinking of going to the reject shop to see, actually they do have paper there. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. That sort of, that paper could be used to pull sticks. Are they sticks or is that paper? I'm not sure. They might be foam sticks or something. Oh, and I think that's foam. I'm looking for rolls of paper like that though. So they've got a whole lot of different crap at that place. I might check it out though, because the poor man's green screen is using green card as a backing. So iridescent green is good. But I think the fabric's supposed to be better because it absorbs the shadows and what have you. It's better at handling reflections and the like. So if you want to do it properly, you probably need to get the fabric one. So I could go on the cheap and buy a couple of cards and just test it out, which is what I was thinking of doing. And if I like what I see, then I can go and spend the extra money. But it's a bit of a fad thing. I don't know whether I really want to go ahead with it or not, but it'll just be a bit of fun. See how it goes. Yeah, just thinking, this big arts complex they've just completed recently is now a temporary white elephant. Obviously you can't have theatre happening now with the crowds and what have you, so presumably that's out of commission for about 6 months. So shortly after it being open, I think it was only open for about 6 months, and they had to shut it down because of Corona. So it's affected a lot of things. So entertainment now is home based, which means there might be a population explosion too. Maternity wards could be packed out in about 9 months. Yeah, it's not a bad view from down here, looking down towards the hills. Oh, it's nice being in this place. It's, especially on a day like today, it's better than being in the big city. I sort of like it. It has a good lifestyle, and like I say, even better when you're in a situation like this Corona thing and you're trying to avoid people. It's not hard to do, because there just isn't that much activity on a normal day, let alone ones where we've got this sort of lockdown situation. So, gee, I'd hate to be someone in the tourist industry. Whew, they must be hurting bad, as are anybody who runs a restaurant. They've all been shut down too. I can only do takeaway now. I wonder if people are adjusting and actually ordering takeaway a lot more, getting deliveries. I would presume that'd be a big growth industry. Yeah, just saw a plane go across the sky there. The reason I mention that is because it's becoming a rare occurrence. I've noticed that there's very little air traffic. Usually I could hear a fair bit from my flat. Nothing for weeks. It's obviously down about 90%. So it's just, I forgot to mention it before, but yeah, it's quite eerie having so little air traffic here, because it's usually very busy. There's a lot of flights. You get, like 4 or 5 an hour. Nothing like that now. So, into the dead heart of Cairns. And horrendous music in the background. I'll probably do a copyright claim for this crap. God, what a joke that'd be. I hate this stuff. It's just white noise as far as I'm concerned. I think they've finally stopped stalking me. I don't know who the hell's playing that crap. Haven't people heard of earphones? Well, that takeaway place is shut. Well, this is the sort of crazy world we live in. You've got all the social distancing stuff happening at Woolworths, and yet they allow 3 different groups of beggars to be begging right outside the entrance to the supermarket. I mean, tell me how much sense that makes. Just common sense has taken a holiday these days. In 2020, just people just are not doing rational things, especially corporates. Like I said, it's all about virtue signalling. Actually, I've got to say, the guy I left my chops there, my pork chops at the checkout. They've got the screens up now, the perspex screens at the checkout, so it's all full on. But like I said, it's a joke when you consider that they allow I mean, I've never seen so many beggars outside. 3 of them, 3 individual beggars outside of Woolworths, and no one tell them to move on. I mean, you know, where's the consistency? Of course, there isn't any. So, yeah, just what a world. I suppose at least they didn't have someone trying to beg in the actual aisle of Woolworths, which actually did happen to me once. That's beyond the pale. This never happened anywhere else in Australia, or overseas for that matter. I've never struck it anywhere in the world. But different down in the dead heart of Cairns. Anyway, I got everything I wanted except, as usual, the pasta section totally denuded of food. I mean, come on, people. I've still got a spare pack of their home brand pasta. So, but look, what I might do is take my cousin's advice, and I'll go. My next shop will be at Coles at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. And now, I'll be very surprised if there's a lot of people shopping at that time on a Sunday. So we'll see. That's probably my best bet. But I got the greens actually on special, both of them. So people, it's weird, like this is healthy food, but people aren't buying it. So work that out. Pretty crazy. But it's a crazy world. Is it what? It's interesting how easy it is to control people too. You have something like a virus now, and lots of civil rights are just out the window, and people don't really question it here. We are a very obedient group of people as a nation compared to a lot of nations where, well, even in China there's riots, and that takes a lot of guts. Hoping it spreads actually, because I'm just hoping that if the people aren't aware how bad their government is, but they must know by now. They do know, to the extent that they have made a martyr out of that poor doctor who died supposedly of coronavirus, but I have my doubts. A lot of people think that it was actually the state itself who carried out an assassination because he's a whistleblower. Wouldn't put anything past them. It's the same mob who instituted Tiananmen Square years ago, so why would they worry about one MD? Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.